Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here. I'm with Liz Trotter. This is Smart Business Moves.
Hi, y'all.
It's a Tuesday,
It's a Tuesday. Good to see everybody today.
February 9. Does
Yeah.
February 9 have any significance in history? Did something happen on February 9?
This isn't like Groundhog's Day.
No, that's a second. That was
No,
a week.
it's really close to Valentine's Day.
Oh, crap. Yeah, that is coming up, isn't it?
So close. I just realized yesterday. I was like,
Yeah, like this weekend? Sunday, maybe?
I don't even know, Tom.
Dear God.
All we do, Tim and I do, is cards. Thankfully. Love that, man. And so I already have my card. As long as I don't.
Do you have to go buy a card?
No, he would. Are you kidding me? He would love it if I would make one, but I'm too lazy. I already bought a card. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He'll make something. He always does something. He's
Something more thoughtful.
He's better than I am. Yeah. We all acknowledge it. Everyone that knows us knows he's the better one.
It is.
Hi, Robin. Sunday. Okay. Ooh, gosh, Sunday makes it harder though. It's kind of like you got to put in effort because you don't have the work excuse. Yeah. I'll make food. That'll be my thing. It's easy. We can make another pig something.
I've never looked. Can you get? I guess you can order cards from Amazon, like just one card.
I did. I got my card.
I mean, is like Prime? I mean, they will actually ship you a card.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I actually ordered mine on Love Pop, so I got cool cards, that pop open and make like fanciness. But yeah, food, right? I'm in. I'm doing food, Robin. I got a fancy card and I'm doing food. I feel like I'm like ahead of the curve here, especially for my past years. Hey, Denise.
Okay.
All right. So
anything happening with PPP or employer retention tax credits or PPP one forgiveness or?
I did get a notification from my bank yesterday saying that they had a new, simpler forgiveness application coming, which I was like, even simpler? All right, that's interesting.
Is that the one with $150,000?
I don't know. I just got it. I didn't even look at it yet. Hey, okay. Brian, I just got it yesterday. No, they're not Christmas ones. They do kind of look like it though, huh? They have all different colors in them. You've never seen me wear them. I've had them probably 10 years. I was like, today is the day.
I've got Denise Christmas hats over here. I could break those.
It's not Christmas. You got to come up with some kind of new decoration that's not.
Like a Valentine's Day hat, like a Valentine's Day arrow through my head or something.
Well, there you go. You couldn't even come up with a birthday paper hat for Leslie.
I could have made one of those.
I think it was Denise's birthday too over the weekend, right? Denise, was it your birthday on the weekend? Terrible on the weekend. I don't get on Facebook. So, but I'm pretty sure she said
happy birthday. Happy belated birthday, Denise.
I hope it was Denise. Somebody said that in the check-in.
I think it was.
All right. Yeah. Happy late birthday, Denise. So we are, yes. All right. Yeah. Happy birthday. I feel bad that we didn't say something much earlier. She's good at remembering stuff like that. She's like Johnny on the spot. Tom's going to change the subject. He's like, let's look at KPIs.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Let's do it. Get us some numbers. We're still talking about price increases, price adjustments. Yeah. We might talk a little bit about, you and I didn't talk about this, Tom, but I thought we could talk a little bit about the letter, whether it's mail, email, a phone call, text, and what types of things people like to put in them that have some of the best results. We don't have to talk about that, but I thought we might.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
All right.
So, this has been a journey, hasn't it?
Yes.
We're not done yet. but every day is a step forward. So red numbers, green numbers go up, red numbers go down. You do pick any, combination of these you want to, but if you make the green go up and the red go down, you're going to be more profitable.
Yeah.
Easy.
And we did do one entire row here, Tom. We did LDPR. We did it. We got tons of things for people to do to lower the LDPR. Right?
Yeah. That's the whole idea. A lot of times, and I've done this in the past. I explain all the math behind it, and it's like, well, you got to go figure out what the heck you're going to do to make the numbers move. But this is how the arithmetic works. That's not very useful, is it?
Well, it can be useful for some people, but I think it's more useful to give them some action items, some things to actually do. Do these things, and this red number is going to go down, or this green number is going to go up.
It was a time. I'm rolling the clock back a while. If you remember, some of these examples here were dated like 2003.
13, wasn't it? Not 3.
Yeah, we went back 10 years from that one. 2013 was a few years ago. Anyway, we felt that it was almost like KPI Jeopardy. That if we can answer the questions, we were doing good. But answering the questions wasn't really making us more profitable. We were just doing fancy math.
Yeah.
So we decided that we wanted to take it a step further. So that's why this is taking longer, because if all we were doing the fancy math, we'd have been done 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys are recognizing that and going, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. Yes, I can do that. And sometimes it's a matter of what you can do. Like, yes, I can make myself do this thing. We were talking this week in group, and one of the women was saying that this is the first year. She's been in business a long time. Can't remember how long. She's actually on this call today. And she said this was the first time she's ever actually written a goal. And she just couldn't do it before. And now she's done it. It's hard to make yourself do some of this stuff, just whatever the thing is. So, whatever you can do is good enough. Do that to get started.
And that's what we're doing. We're giving a long list, so you don't have to do everything. Do something. Pick something that's within your means, that you're comfortable doing, and that can become a habit. And then, if it gets easy, then do something else too. And then you got other people in your office, get them involved, have them do something as well. Because that's really, I don't know if we've talked about that enough. You can't do this by yourself. You've got other people in your company. You need to get everybody involved in what we're doing here.
Yes, that was you, Linda. I didn't want to call you out, but I'm glad you did call yourself out. 15 years, Tom. She's been in business 15 years. Wrote a goal. I was so proud of you, Linda. Yeah. Fireworks for you.
That's a good start.
No, she did more than that. Not only did she write the goal, she's also got activities that are connected to those goals. She's broken it down by quarter, broken it down by month, working on it weekly. She didn't just write a goal. She's working it. I'm like it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. Hey, Robin asked if we could give them some info on the groups. Tom, could you just put the link up there for
MMA?
Yeah. It's you can check out the website, so we don't have to get into it and waste anybody's time here, Robin. It's mastermindaccountability.com. I'm gonna get a link up there for you though.
Here's the website. Here's the link for the video. Can I play the video?
No, please don't. It's so bad. Please don't hold that video against me, Robin. You know better than this.
You're making it awful hard for me not to.
No, please don't. I keep saying I'm going to redo the video.
I can do it at like 1.7.
No, just don't do it. I'll redo it and then I'll let you do it.
Okay. I dropped the link in chat. We'll leave it at that. How about that?
Yeah, thank you. Good job. All right. So Does anyone hear the humming noise in the background?
I do. What is that?
Oh, I don't hear it. Is it maybe here? Since I don't, let me turn off my microphone. Does that help? Change anything?
Your microphone's still on. I can hear you.
No, but it's the big blue microphone. It's a separate microphone.
I don't know if it's working. You can only use one microphone, so you're not even using that one. You're using the one on your webcam, I'm guessing. Okay, it's off. I can't hear you, and I can't hear the noise either.
All right, that was my microphone. We are using Big Blue. All right, so it is my microphone because you couldn't hear the noise when I turned it up. Let me move it.
It's cats.
Was that any better?
What are the cats? Are they running the vacuum cleaner back there?
What? Do you hear it? Is it really loud?
No, it's all gone now. You're good.
You know what? I had it sitting on top of my computer, the microphone. So I'm thinking that's what it was. Yeah. Are you good? Is it gone, Linda, for you too?
I used to have a mic that would sit on my desk, and I got away from that. I had to get something to hold it up in the air because I flail a lot when I talk, and every time I would touch the desk, it would make a little untenable noise. So anyways.
Well, I hope it's gone for everybody, not just you, Tom.
Do what?
I hope the noise is gone for everyone and not just you, especially Linda said it's been there a couple weeks.
I didn't know that. I just noticed it. I thought it was like highway traffic or something. Anywho, it's too quiet in here now.
It was driving her nuts. Sorry, Linda. It was such
Can I put some background music or something in here or?
No, sorry, Tom. Now we have to suffer. All right.
That thing that Derek carries around with him that makes all these noises at night.
And he sleeps. Yes, and he plays them really loud, like grasshoppers and.
It's freaking scary. You're waiting for a lion or something to jump out.
Okay, but that is not as bad as who was it that had to have a fan? Remember that? That loud whir of the fan.
Who was that?
I don't remember. We had to search for a fan. You finally found one, but we did. Okay. And you think of the fan. I got to share this one. We also have a friend that went to Foundations. Her name's Angela, and she sleeps with a hairdryer, y'all. This is not a secret. A hairdryer that's on. That's a real thing. And she's not the only one.
Google it.
I did Google it. There's a lot of people.
There's a clinical name for it.
Oh, that part I did not see. But yeah, I was like, wow, all right. That's a thing. All right. Anyway, you don't remember who the fan was? I don't either.
No, but I remember it. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah. Anyway, we're all we're all mutants.
All right, so I wanted to go back to the idea of activities and action items and figuring out what you're going to do. So we're going to be talking some more about annual rate increases and adjustments. And I just want to remind you guys that while we're talking, be thinking about what can I do? What can I do? Don't think about how that won't work for me. I can't do that. What can you do? Because you don't have to do everything. You just need to do some of the stuff to make the green numbers go up and the red numbers go down.
And when we say you, we're talking about everyone that works in your organization. Everybody can play in this game. You're the CEO of the company. Your job really is to lead and get your team to get engaged in this. It doesn't mean that there aren't things that you're going to be doing with your own personal two hands in this. It does mean that you will be, but just don't get so lost in what you're doing that, this isn't something that you do that you forget about everybody else in your company and isolate them from this. They have to be active. They don't have to be, but if you want to be as profitable as you deserve to be, then you want to get everybody involved in this.
Even the LDPR, y'all. Have them help you get that number down.
Think about it.
Everybody can work on this.
Think about it. We're talking about getting the loaded direct payroll down by being more efficient, being more productive. Who's in the best position to do that? Your cleaning professionals, right? The folks that are cleaning homes every day. So if you're trying to do this without getting them involved, you can move some.
Heavier lift. Yep, absolutely.
And the result you're going to get is going to be suboptimal.
Mm-hmm. And they're not as engaged. So everybody recognizes now how important it is to have engaged employees, right? So here is one way to not only engage them, but win, make more money, have them win too. If you make more money, there we go. I go back to, yeah, thanks, Tom. If you make more money, you have opportunities to pay them better.
It's going to be a better place to work. Any way you slice it, I promise you, and you can promise all your stakeholders that they're going to get more value out of the relationship with your company if you can be more profitable. And it's not about being old man Potter. It's about being George Bailey, okay? It's not Christmas anymore. I need to come up with another analogy. But truly, and
oh, and I've been on the other side of that. When you don't have profit, everything is harder. People don't get what they deserve. You can't pay people what they deserve. People aren't going to be as connected to your company. They're not as engaged. So you need to have the profit. All right. Have we done enough proselytizing today, Tom? Maybe not.
I just want to go back to Don Finn, though, because one of the things that people get hung up about is talking to their employees about profit.
Uh-huh.
And he points out that, think about it. Does any rational person want to work for a company that's not profitable? You know, it's kind of common sense from an employee standpoint. It's like, this place sucks if it's not going to be generating a profit. Of course, I want, the person who owns the company make money, because if that person's not making money, I'm not going to be making any money either, right?
Yeah. I'm sure they're not going to be making more than them.
I mean, it's head trash. A lot of times we we look at it wrong. But anyway, we're still drilling on loaded direct, payroll to revenue. And we understand the importance of that, because the lower that number is, the more of every dollar that comes in flows down to covering our fixed expenses and eventually becoming profit. And we are talking about rate increases, and we talked about when to do it yesterday. I think that we're pretty good on that, and I think we're in agreement. If you do it at the anniversary date, if you can do it as soon as possible, the sooner the better, for all the reasons that we discussed, and spread it out over 12 months. Don't batch it all up. Do it as soon as the opportunity presents itself on at least a monthly basis. You wanted to talk about how to do it. Do we want to do a letter, an email, a phone call?
Yep.
There was a time when we would take a letter and print it out on the laser printer and fold it up and put it in an envelope with a stamp, put an address on it.
Yeah, Brian, we just talked about this yesterday. So we talked quite extensively, actually, about that $15 an hour increase by, was it 2026, Tom, or 2025?
2025 is the proposed bill. But it's not, it's far from being a law yet. Yeah. But it kind of looks like it's worst case scenario for rate increase, for a minimum wage increase. The idea of it going immediately to $15 an hour on a national basis, I think, is pretty much off the table.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that's going to happen. No matter who the president is, don't care. That's not happening.
But if you want to go back to yesterday's, might find a link here if I'm lucky. This is what's happening, where if this becomes law, it could go up to $9.50 sometime this year, and then go up to 11 and $12.50, and so on and so on. So by the time we get to 2025, it would be $15 an hour. But by the time we get to that point, a lot of things will happen between now and 2025.
So many things. Heck, I feel lucky nowadays if I can tell you what's going to happen in December of this year. I have no idea. All right, so back to how to do these price increases. So I know that there are a lot of people that are still sending letters. When email started to be really on the rise and we had everybody's email addresses, a lot of people switched over to email, and we're sending a lot of email price increases. I think the email is a little bit harder nowadays than it was even like 2-3 years ago, because people don't open email as often as they did. There was quite a good chunk of time where people checked email every single day, multiple times a day. And I know that there are a lot of people now that don't check email every day. But I still think that most people are checking their email often enough to be able to get your price increases out there, your price adjustment, your wage adjustment. What do I want to say? Rate increases or adjustments out there. Yeah, it was hard. It was hard, y'all. I know that some people are using text now. I don't personally know anyone that is using text and having a lot of success, but I'm curious about it. I'm interested in seeing how it's going to play out for the people that are using text. We are currently doing email, and because we're doing email and there is sort of a lag between when people receive the email and they open it, we are giving them a month. So we send it out, we send the emails out the first week of the month, and then it goes into effect the first of the following month. That's what we've been doing for a few years. And we do them every month, so it hasn't stopped working yet.
Yeah, we do emails as well, and a lot of times, not a lot of times, but sometimes, the clients miss them. But if they don't, if we don't have any discussions between the time that we send the email out and we say the change is going to go into effect, we just let the change roll into effect. And, occasionally they'll call up and say, why did my rate go up? And it's like, well, we sent you an email on such and such a date here. I'll send it to you again. It's like, oh, we missed it. And it's all good.
Yeah, it hasn't been a problem. There was one more. What's your next slide, Tom? Do you mind giving me a quick show? See if I want to.
Rate, variable rate.
Okay. Yep. This is good. There was one more thing that I wanted to talk about. We were talking about fear, and that a lot of people are afraid that the main reason that I hear for people not sending out price increases on a regular basis is because they're afraid. They're afraid of losing customers. They're afraid of upsetting customers. They're afraid that they won't have enough work for their cleaning professionals. So lots of fear around sending these out. But Tom taught me something way back in the day that I had just never heard anybody say before. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is brilliant. You don't ever have to lose any customer to a price increase. Send the letter. If the customer balks, they try to cancel service, they're not happy, you can always unwind that. You can always say, you know what, Mrs. Johnson, you're one of our favorite customers. I'm actually not going to raise your price. Don't tell all your friends, because I still need to be able to increase our rates. But for you, I'm not going to increase your rate. So worst case scenario is you keep Mrs. Johnson at the same rate that you had her at before, and now she feels special for it. She feels like you gave her some sort of a special deal, and now she's more loyal to you. So that's worst case scenario. So sending the letter actually gives you a boost no matter how you look at it, either in money or in relationship. So I love that strategy. I don't see any reason not to send it unless the customer hasn't been happy with your service recently. And then they're right. You shouldn't be raising their price. You need to get your act together first, fix the problem. And I'm speaking from experience here. If we're not doing the job, yeah, you shouldn't pay me more money. No, don't pay me more money. And don't tip anybody either. Make us work for it. Come on. So that's the only time I think people shouldn't send out a price increase. How about you, Tom? Anything else? Any other reasons? Even COVID?
No. I mean, basically, if you've already given that customer reasons to fire you, you don't need to give them another one. You want to get them back to a point where at least, they're seeing value in your service before you approach them, requesting more money.
Okay, now I do have one talking about adjustments versus increases. Sometimes what can happen is, and I'm sure that some of you have dealt with this in the past too, the customer's not happy with the service, but it's because you don't have enough time to get the job done, right? Because the job is bid, for example, at $100, but they actually need $130 worth of work. And so you're always going in there for $100 worth of time, and you're doing that much work, and the customer's not happy because really you need to adjust their rate to be able to match up with the work that they want to have done. But that's not on them. That's on us. Ooh, I like the green bar, green numbers. Nice, Tom.
Yep. I should have green bars on all of them. I'm just kind of doing this on the fly. I'll get it fixed. But
I like the green.
Since we're kind of talking about rate adjustments, you want to explain, Liz, what the difference between a rate increase and a rate adjustment is?
Sure. How I think of rate adjustments is when something has happened to make there's been an outside force that has made you need to change that price that doesn't have anything to do with the economy or anything else. So some common reasons that I see needing to make rate adjustments are, first, maybe you bid the job wrong. You thought it was going to take 4 hours, but it actually takes 4 hours and 40 minutes by your fastest person. All right, you need to adjust that. You made a mistake, get it fixed. Another one is maybe your customer with the 2,000 square foot house had a combination of carpet and vinyl. Vinyl in the kitchen, vinyl in the bathrooms, and then carpet everywhere else. Great. And then they got all of their floors redone, and they got tile and marble throughout their whole home. You need to adjust that rate because you're not getting that house clean in the same amount of time. Another one is that their kids go away to college, and now you're only cleaning this much of the house. You might want to adjust the rate. Now, this is a different type of rate adjustment. Not a lot of people agree with the idea of lowering the rate, but you might want to. Or what about they come back from college? Now they're back in the house, trashing the house again. You might need to adjust the rate. Another really big one is, two more actually, real quick. Dogs, new puppies, babies. When you bring either of those two things into the house, sometimes you have to adjust the rate. Not always, but a lot of times. So,
people, pets, square footage.
Oh yeah, like if they build on or something.
Yeah, people do that. And plus you've got the whole, for a period of time, you got the whole construction thing going on, which makes it that much more complicated.
Yeah. And a lot of times, it's a confusing thing for the homeowner is they might want you to not clean, 3 areas while they're in construction mode. And they want you to take this money off the price, but they don't recognize that it's takes a lot longer when new construction is going on or any kind of a remodel is going on. So much dust in the air, people in and out, moving in your space. There's all that extra stuff in the way. It can end up taking a lot of time. So that's another time when you might need to temporarily adjust the rates.
So
go ahead, Tom.
let's just talk about strategy for these rate adjustments. One mistake that I see often is that companies rather are hesitant to do adjustments. They've got, they're grossly underpricing a job and they just keep doing it, month after month after month. That ideally, and I guess, I know that you and I've had this discussion and your philosophy, and I think is really good, is, assess after 3, for a recurring customer.
And not just assess after 3. What I like to do is, because I'm all about expectations, right? Setting that expectation is letting the client know up front when you're signing them up for a job, especially y'all, if they bid online, right? If they bid online, or maybe you have set pricing and just square foot is always this amount of money, but then you get in there and the client wants a different service. That you need to be ready to adjust that price to fit what they need, to fit their expectations and whatever it is that they want to have done. Because especially when it's done online, you're not really doing that. You're not really giving them the service that they want. All right, what does Katerina say here? If your customers come from referrals, you need to charge equal amount as they always exchange information. I would rather increase for everyone than for half.
I mean, we've all run into that thing why, my next door neighbor said, you guys are awesome, so I want a quote. You get a quote. And they say, well, my next door neighbor's paying something less than that. Why are you charging me more?
Yeah. Well, my thinking is that you just need to know why you're charging more. Ideally, you would not want to talk about the time. Ideally, you would not want to say that it's because your house takes longer, right? Or your house is dirtier.
Your house is dirtier. Your house,
or your house is dirtier. You would want to be able to point to certain things about the house that maybe take longer, and have something that doesn't sound derogatory. Well, if your house was clean like your neighbors, right, that's not good.
But you can talk about, there's a lot of factors that affect, how long it takes to clean the home. Mm-hmm. And I know that we don't want to just say that it takes longer, but if you explain that, the types of flooring you have and the types of furniture and how much furniture, how dense it is, and how many people are living in the home. There are a lot of factors, and I don't have your neighbor's information available to compare it to yours, because at some point, it's not like HIPAA laws and medical, but you really don't want to break down, and explain everything about the neighbor's home either. It is confidential. Your neighbors are trusting, all your customers are trusting you not to just put out there and tell anybody else that comes along what's going on inside of their home, but just give them a general idea of all the factors that can affect, your cost and charge associated with cleaning a home. And usually people will accept that. Okay, I understand.
And a lot of times I'll use examples that don't have anything to do with either house, just so that they can see that there are a lot of things. For example, well, like at some homes we make beds, and at some homes we do dishes, some we do laundry. So the pricing of different homes is going to be different based on the scope of work, depending on what they want. So the reason why your price is different than your neighbor, Mrs. Johnson's, you guys don't have the same thing done in your homes.
Yeah, the scope of work can make a big difference. And some customers have to take certain rooms and put them on request. That even though two homes might be the similar size, we don't necessarily clean the same number of rooms in each home.
and the rooms don't take the same amount of time. Now, what I will say is if Mrs. Jones is asking you why Mrs. Johnson's house is $22 cheaper than her house is, and you give her the answer and she doesn't look like, oh, that makes sense, then you need to be able to follow up with, and we can absolutely get your price lower, Mrs. Johnson, by changing the scope of work if the price is a problem for you. So
Right.
be ready with that. You know, what can you reduce? What can you do differently? How can you? And there are a lot of things that I think, and not for all companies. So if your company is deep clean only, that's all you do, deep clean, then you don't have a lot of leverage. But if your company is able to modify your scope of work for individual clients, then there are a lot of things that you can do. Last week, my biweekly customer says, today you don't need to clean my house. Can you clean two-filled? I couldn't change it. Surprise. Yeah, that happens, doesn't it, Katerina? I'll tell you the response that works really well for that. When she says, today you don't need to clean my office, can you clean 2 full bathrooms instead? You say, oh, absolutely. That will probably cost about $18. Does that work? It's the same strategy that they use at the restaurant when you say, hi, can I get 2 ranches? They say, sure, it'll be $1.50 for that. How often do you say, no, no, thanks? I always say, yeah, sure, I want the ranch. Bring me more ranch. So it's sort of that same strategy.
Can I substitute the steak for the chicken? Sure, that'll be an extra $5.
Yeah. Especially if they're asking for more work. Now, sometimes they'll say, I don't need you to do the master bathroom, the master bedroom, or the regular bathroom. Instead, could you vacuum the hallway? All right, well, you just reduced the scope of work by $40 and you're asking for, you know, a $4 add-on. Sure, I'm happy to do that for you at no charge, Mrs. Johnson.
I mean, you should have some allowance. We talked about, you know, that like the can standards where, you know, how long does it take to clean, you know, the vacuum 1,000 square feet of carpet. You should have some idea how long it typically takes you to clean a dry room, a wet room, you know, a kitchen, a bathroom, so on and so forth. So you start getting this game of taking rooms off and adding rooms on, do the arithmetic and say, well, what is it, you know, from a time standpoint, what's the difference? And if it's saving you time, but they just want to do a swap, then great, you're actually making more money, but it's going to take you more time. You want to charge for the delta.
And if your customer switches a lot, then you might look at what makes more sense. Maybe their price needs to be higher, or maybe it needs to be lower to accommodate for their flipping so that they can change it up all the time, because customers don't like it when you're constantly changing the price on them. Some don't mind at all, but some just feel like you're nickel and diming them to bits when you do that. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to charge you an extra $2, $2, y'all. Unless that's your only profit in the job, try and suck that up, you know? So you charging for every tiniest little thing can start to grate on people's nerves also.
So the whole point of this rate adjustment thing is, if you look at every customer that you have and make a graph and take the customer that you make the most profit of and put them at the beginning of the graph and go across the graph in terms of the ones that are making you less and less profit, by the time you get to the end of the graph, the curve's going to go up really sharp, and then it's going to start to flatten off. And at the end, and this almost always happens, it kind of dips down a little bit. That you have some customers that, honest to God, you would have more money in the bank at the end of the year if they weren't your customers. You're losing money on them when you take into consideration your cost of goods sold plus, you know, all the changes that you're having to make with their schedule and moving jobs around and situations where you've got teams that were scheduled to work that weren't even, you know, able to generate revenue because of the scheduling problems they create and billing problems and chasing down money. Problem is, you don't know who those customers are, or maybe you have some idea, but you can't put a number on it. And that's why this
Sometimes you don't want to because you're afraid.
Yeah.
You don't want to know.
But you really need to know that. And for the ones who are not paying what they need to be paying in order to justify the service that you're providing them, you need to do this rate adjustment. Because if you don't, I'm going to go
back to what we talked about yesterday, Tom. If you want to be able to have the availability to not do the adjustment on those people that are losing money for you, then you have to do the rate increases and the adjustments on a regular basis so that you have that flexibility. You have to be profitable enough to be able to choose, yes, I'm not going to charge Mrs. Johnson. I would rather charge her an amount of money that is not tenable. I don't mind losing $5 a week every single time I go to Mrs. Johnson, but you have to be profitable enough to make that decision. You can't just willy-nilly just be not charging people for the money that you need to charge. Brian has a comment here too, Tom. My experience has been when a customer threatens to leave because of a price increase and you stick to your guns, they usually don't cancel. There you go. So that I know that a lot of people also have this experience. So stick to your guns. If you really don't care also if this customer leaves or not, stick to your guns no matter what. You're taking a chance, but the odds may be in your favor, especially if they're very happy. If you're looking at your scorecards and they've given you perfect scorecards all along and you raise the rate and they're like, what? It's a struggle. They have an internal problem as well, right? They have to figure out what they're going to do.
If you remember this example here,
mm-hmm.
and this was just, dummy data, but you could lose 10% of your customers and still have the same amount of revenue.
And you need to know what that number is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like Brian has a lot of confidence that even if they leave, it's okay. But he doesn't have to get all flustered because he knows that the majority of the time they don't leave.
And sometimes they'll threaten and sometimes they even will.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they'll crawl back after that.
Yeah.
We call them crawlbacks. They'll go out and they shop the market and they find out that they really were having a pretty good deal. And plus they appreciated your service. And there's something in the middle too. If they do leave you and let a couple months go by, reach out to them.
4 months, y'all.
4? Okay.
4 months. That's the magic number right there. I've tested it all. I've tested 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8. 4 wins. You'll get back so many customers at the 4-month mark.
Because they've tried somebody else. They may have tried a couple of somebody else's.
What happens at the 4-month mark is that's right at the timeline when the other company is just settled in and isn't doing anything special anymore, not paying attention to them at all. And they've already had 2, maybe even 3 cleanings that were subpar. Something was missed and nobody's reached out to them. Nobody's talked to them. And here you come all reaching out to them, telling them how much you want them back, how much you love them. They feel special again. And bam, they come back. Yep, Leslie, it's okay if they leave.
Yep.
Up to a certain extent, right? You don't want them all to leave. So if you are raising your prices to a degree that everybody is leaving, I would say if you're losing 50% of your client base, you better be knowing what you're doing. Be paying attention. Is that what you wanted to do? Was that intentional? Are you going to be making enough money that you can afford for 50% of your people to leave? That's a thing. You could do that. You could choose that. You could decide I'm going to go solos and I don't even want this many people. I don't want this many customers. I want to make more money and the people who stay, awesome. Just make sure that you're paying attention. What, Tom?
I'm just playing here.
you trying to make here? I'm dying to see.
What you want to do is the anniversary date. Because even worst case, you're only hitting a small number of your customers anyway, right?
Yep.
So even if they all quit, then it's still like 1/12 on the average.
Yeah.
And they're not all going to quit either.
They're not.
It gives you an opportunity. Nobody's going to quit, or very few percentage of the ones that you do. But if you do it every year, you can deal with it. And plus you're getting more data and you just get better at it. It's like anything else. You get better at it if you do it every month. So you want to do your rate increases every month, and you want to be looking at your rate adjustments every month as well. And if you do that, you don't get in these situations where, gee, I'm so upside down on Mrs. Jones, I don't know what to do, but I've been cleaning her forever. And if I go back and tell her I got to raise her rate 50%, she's going to lose her mind. And just all of this gets so doggone easy. And what happens is your loaded direct payroll to revenue goes down and you're making more money because you're billing more for the same amount of work for the same amount of cost. It's virtuous. Your life gets easier, you get more profitable at the same time.
Yay. And your people get paid more depending on how you pay. So,
but you know what? It's hard because you don't have to do it. You're going to do payroll every week, because if you don't, you're going to have a lot of people that are angry at you, and your business, goes away if you don't pay your people, and you get in trouble and you go to jail. Nobody's making you do these rate increases, these rate adjustments. And I'll get to them next week. I'll do them later. I'll do it next week.
So, Tom, you're making the perfect argument for why you shouldn't do them. Have somebody else do them. If there's anyone else in your office, that's their job. Put it on them, because they don't have an option. You tell them to do it, they have to do it. It's their job. I'm going back to many, many years ago. I don't know, I want to say 15 years ago, maybe longer, when we started taking credit card numbers over the phone. Well, back in the day, it's probably closer to 20 years, that wasn't a thing. You didn't really give your credit card number over the phone. That was crazy. And I was like, we are taking credit cards, period. We are. And you guys all know Mindy, and Mindy worked for me, and she was like, Liz, I can't ask people for their credit cards. They're going to slam the phone down. They're going to yell at me out. They're going to cuss me out. I just can't do it. I was like, so here's the deal. You either get everybody's credit card or another job. I don't care which one, your choice. And she quickly found out that, it wasn't as easy as she thought. It took her a while to get her groove, but we got all the credit card numbers. And I couldn't have probably called and gotten all those credit card numbers, but she didn't have a choice. It was her job. So, and she actually looks back on it as that was really a good experience.
Did you ever admit to her, it's like, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I'd have been scared to death, Mindy.
Absolutely. I told her I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it. You had to do it. That's why you had to do it, or I had to find somebody else who could. We needed credit card numbers. So same thing. If you can't do the price increases or the price adjustments, have somebody else do it. Also, price adjustments for a recurring client after the 3 jobs is just like a sweet spot there, especially if you tell people up front that you're going to do it. You've had enough time to figure out how this house works and determine whether or not you really can do it in that amount of time. But if it's for another reason other than when you first bring on a client, then the idea there is as soon as possible. I don't know if anybody else has ever had this experience, but I have. Didn't notice for whatever reason, bless you, Tom. Didn't notice for whatever reason that somebody's price was out of whack, fell through the cracks. Here it is, 8 months in, we've been cleaning at this bad price. Now we need to adjust their rate. We try to call the customer and tell them that, nothing's changed about your house, but we have been cleaning it for and losing money for 8 months. Now they just think you're a crap business. That's a bad word. A bad business owner, right? That you don't even know how to run your business. What? So you expect me to believe that you have been cleaning my house and not making any money for 8 months? Yeah, no.
Let me give you one other thing here on rate adjustments. We'll move on. Don't forget to look at your inactive
question too. Brian has a question too.
Okay, we'll jump right on that. Don't forget inactive customers though, because they are inactive customers become active customers again. And while you're at it, go ahead and look at those rates and adjust them as well, or increase them. Give them rate increases as well. Old one-time customers, include those, because a lot of times they become on-demand customers and they want to go again. You just want to make sure that when somebody calls up, wants to go on the schedule again, you have some process to make sure that they're paying a new rate as opposed to some quote that they were given 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's really good.
Even old quotes for people who never became customers, oddly, you can kind of turn this into a campaign and say that, we've been going through and we're making rate adjustments, but we'll go ahead and we'll give you one cleaning at your old rate if you want to take it, within the next 2 weeks. And sometimes people will sign up for service again, and all tied into, I want to get a deal. If I ever get my home clean, I'll never have a better opportunity.
Yeah, people don't like to miss out on stuff, right? FOMO. It's a thing, y'all. All right. So hopefully you're getting some ideas about what you can do, not what you can't do. Brian, how do you guys set up a customer anniversary rate increase reminder? All right. So it happens automatically in Made Central. So Tom can't speak to this, but for years, we just used QuickBooks. You can sort by start date, when they started service with you. And we would just open it up, sort by the date, export everybody from the month that we were in. So if it was February, we would just export everybody that started in February, and all those people got rate increases. That's how we did it.
I think just about any production management software out there would have a start date.
Yeah.
You just do it, everybody who started in January, everybody who started in February. It's kind of the same way you do birthdays, right? You run the report.
Yeah. Same way.
Figure out who's getting a birthday card.
Yep. Same way. I know people that use like Excel to do it as well, Brian. The idea there is just do it however you can find that is easy for you, or whoever's going to do it for you, the easiest way, and just do it that way. Later, you'll find a better way, an even easier way, a quicker way, something that is more streamlined. You just got to get on board with the idea of doing them on a regular basis, because then it becomes easy. Make it happen.
It's a habit.
Yeah.
You want to become a habit.
Inactive customers, old one-time customers, old quotes. Yeah. Good.
How about just charging more per hour?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we got the loaded direct payroll here divided by the revenue down here. If I'm charging more, then the whole loaded payroll to revenue is going to go down. And we talked earlier about increasing productivity, right? Increasing productivity will actually generate more revenue per clock hour. Certainly want to be focusing on that. We talked about all of the ways that you can increase productivity. Let's talk about charging more per hour. If you really want to maximize the amount of revenue that you can get per labor hour, do you want to quote hourly, or do you want to quote based on the job?
For my money, for the job, all day long, every day. So
if you're making it a strategic initiative to be as productive as you can be, and if you remember, productivity is the allowed time divided by the actual time, you want to be able to learn how to clean, the same amount of space to the same scope of work in the least amount of labor hours possible. And like Sharon Tinberg and Debbie Sardone, they've got they've got a lot of training material out there that you can use to basically implement some of the industrial engineering techniques. You don't have to break out the Therabligs and the stopwatch and do all of that stuff. Yeah. A lot of that work's done for you, and that's not really my superpower. I'll leave that to the other experts in terms of how to maximize productivity. But if you do that, you certainly don't want to sell by the hour, because every quote you give you're going to be the highest, right?
All right, so I am going to argue for the other side for just a minute here. I am all about not charging by the hour, but you can charge by the hour. I do know a couple of companies that charge by the hour. Isn't it Steve? Oh, what's his name? Up in Canada. He swears by the hour. He swears by charging by the hour. He charges you whatever it is, $55 an hour. How many hours do you want? That's how long they stay in the house. So not to say that you can't be profitable and charge by the hour. Absolutely, you can. Lots of great companies do this, big companies, and you can be profitable. You can just be more profitable. You have opportunity for more profit when you charge by the job. You also have opportunity to lose money, right? So, because if you don't manage the productivity and you don't manage these things, then you can end up losing money if you're doing it by the job and people are spending double the time, or you send too many people into that home and they trip over each other. I'm sure that we've all dealt with a little bit of that. Anything outside of weekly or bi-weekly, we charge hourly. We charge hourly for hourly for anything that isn't on a recurring basis. So if it's recurring, we can come up with a price, but we charge hourly too if it's. Now, I do know a couple of companies that recently have started just having a flat rate, regardless of when you're cleaned or how you're cleaned, and they're having some success. So they set the rate higher than what they would normally expect to charge, and people are taking them up on it, and they're making some money. So I'm thinking of one company in particular that has recently started doing that, and she's having success. She's like, I'm loving it. I don't know that I'll ever go back. So I always have flat rates for them. I'm by the hour. Yeah. Initial cleanings by the hour. I think Carrie recommends, so we do the same as you do, Katerina. I think that Carrie recommends, we're running tight on time too, recommends not charging more for the initial clean. Instead, just charging your regular price. Yeah, it's going to take you a little bit longer, but then rotating in some of the deep clean stuff. And she's had some good success doing that as well. Finding a way and using it as a benefit. So one of the things that her company does is we don't charge you that initial clean fee that everybody in her area does. And we do free electrostatic spraying with Victory sprayers that have not been recalled. And
are there any?
She has that. What?
Are there any out there that haven't been recalled?
No, mine have been. I checked the numbers last night.
I just want to show you something, though. Let's pretend
You gotta be quick because top of the hour.
You do 700 square feet an hour. Do we want to save this for tomorrow?
Yes.
I got a minute. Don't I? No, I don't. It's top of the hour. We'll do this tomorrow.
It'll be good tomorrow.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be good.
I can't wait. What's tomorrow? Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Okay, guys. Take care. We'll see you here tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.